Hackers Club, now that we got a few of us in the chat here in the stream. So, as you see, I'm on Hackers homepage right here. We are a private community developers, and we're looking to learn Web3. We're looking to build in Web3, and that's what we're going to be doing here in these webinars. So, Hackers Club is hosting a webinar series, and we're going to be building some cool projects throughout that. And you're going to be learning Web3 terminology. You're going to be learning tools, technologies, kind of what's going on in the industry. So, we understand we've got, some people that are new to software development, some people that are more experienced. We got some software vets in here. And in the same way, we got some people that are new to Web3 and others that know their way around. So that might mean, you're an investor, but you haven't gotten into the dev side of it. Or maybe you've played with smart contracts a little, but you're not too familiar with the space as a whole. But I think everyone's going to have a real good grip on all of that, through these courses that we're doing here. Little introduction on myself. My name is Red. I also go by Brad, and I'm your instructor for this webinar series. So I am a full stack Web3 developer. I'm also an educator. And my story on how I got into Web3 is I've been a software dev for a while. I only recently got into the crypto part of it. So that happened, got introduced to NFTs, and that was sort of my portal into this whole space with all this cool stuff going on. I was into crypto for a while. I just never really explored the intersection of software development and crypto. But, since I got a hold on that, I've been working full time in this space. I've been writing content, writing smart contracts, building Dapps, freelancing, jumping all around in the space. And that is the knowledge I'm going to be bringing to you guys today. So, starting things off with Hackers Club and with this webinar series. So with episode 1 of this webinar, I want to tell you guys what we are potentially going to be building. In some of these projects, some of the ideas we have for them, which are flexible because this is a community-based thing. I want to know what you guys want to learn too. Some of these are going to look like minting Dapp for an ERC 721 or maybe an ERC 1155. Those are 2 popular token standards for NFTs. Maybe staking Dapps, with those same NFT token standards, as well as an ERC 20. ERC 20s are a token standard that is used for things like Chainlink or Shiba Inu or a lot of popular coins that don't have their own blockchain. They leverage the Ethereum blockchain. And then maybe something like an NFT marketplace. So if you're familiar with NFTs, you might know of OpenSea or Rarible. We can look at how to build something like that and what all the steps look like in that process. So before we get any further, I'd love to ask you guys a few more questions. Has anyone in here worked on projects like this before, whether that be front end, back end, anything like that? And if you can type that in the chat, or if you want to volunteer to speak, you can request and I'll give you access to speak and you can share, what you've made in the space or what you've worked on. All right, Kim is a newbie. She's here to learn. All right, lots of newbies love that. You guys are gonna learn a ton through this. It's a really cool space. So another question, when you say newbie, what is your experience with web development in general, or backend development using languages like Java? Is there anything there, or are you just diving in head first here? See, we got a few more comments in here. Zequo has made a simple voting app for a portfolio, front end and back end. Love that, full stack. Craft Jarl operates a DAO full time. You're a founder and familiar with Solidity. That is awesome. Not professional, sounds like a professional resume if you ask me. And Isaac, looking to learn more about creating NFTs. Cool. We're totally gonna do some of that. Rodic says they have some Java skills. They're a professional that uses that language. That is awesome. Fun fact about Solidity, it is a superset of Java. So if you know Java, Solidity is going to be very familiar and very comfortable to use. Alex is a newbie, but got some Node.js experience outside of Web3 that'll totally help and carry over. And SK790, full stack dev, 5+ years. Hell yeah, love to have that. Love to see that experience. All right, cool. And now one more a little deeper. Does anyone own NFTs? So, we talked about making them and stuff, but who actually owns one? That could be like Flow blockchain. That could be like your classic profile picture projects. Or maybe even you have an NFT because you've used it as a ticket to get into an event. I've seen some of those popping up lately. It's cool. At hackathons and stuff, you can get POAPs, which POAP is an acronym for Proof of Attendance Protocol. And it's an NFT on a gasless network that just says, hey, I was here, I was part of this. Yep, so there we go. Yeah, exactly. A VCon ticket, Craft Jarl's got one of those. And a Spider-Man painting. Nice. I've got a Spider-Man one from seeing that movie. AMC was giving out NFTs for that. Isaac's got some PFPs and ones for doodle rooms. Sweet, love it. All right, yeah, Alex knows about POAPs. Alex has one. All right, that's awesome, guys. So we got a mixed bag of experience. Some of you own these NFTs. Some have a little bit more experience working in the Web3 space. Kim's got a couple on OpenSea. Yeah, we love that. Cool. All right, yeah, love the mixed bag of experience. That's what's nice about this community too is I'm going to be here teaching and the Hackers Club team is going to be here helping out, but we also, we're looking to build a network so everyone's able to help each other out too, some people that are more experienced maybe, some people that are less experienced, people like to link up, collab on things, and it's nice to have these different backgrounds and different skill sets coming in together to build some of this stuff. So jumping into this, I'm going to show you guys a bit of things we might want to build. I'm going to show you some examples of what these might look like, and a little bit of an insight onto the process on how that looks. So first things first, I'm gonna hop onto Etherscan here. So if anyone's not familiar with Etherscan, this is a block explorer for Ethereum. Solana, Binance, Bitcoin, they all have their own block explorers. This one's for Ethereum, and what it can do is, one, it'll show you every transaction that happens because cryptocurrencies are just a public ledger. But what else it shows you is smart contracts, and that is going to be very important to us. This is going to be one of our favorite tools, forever for us as builders. No matter if we're working on something simple or complex, this is a very powerful tool right here. So what I pulled up is Bored Ape Yacht Club's token contract, and the reason for that is Bored Ape Yacht Club's a popular one. A lot of you might be familiar with them, real famous project, but they are mainly a profile picture project, and it comes with a community, some other things. They do metaverse plays, but to keep it simple, this is their contract here. It'll tell you some basic details. What's the max supply? How many holders? How many transfers happen? You can, if you verify yourself as a contract owner, you can put in this information here. But what this looks like is I can see every transaction that happens. This is a public ledger, so I can see who's buying stuff, who's selling stuff. I can also look at the contract itself, which is super cool. These are read functions. Check the max apes. This value, they have a read function for it. The value is 10,000. Check the ape price. So this was their mint price. Check the balance of, if I put in a wallet, see how many they have. These are all functions that are written into the contract itself. So there are also functions you might want to write to. Now, when you're dealing with a Dapp or something, if I want to create a website where I'm able to mint an ape, the supply is hit, so you can't mint any new ones, only X amount can be made. But if I wanted to mint it and they were still minting, this is the core function that I would use. So, I'd make a Dapp and I'd make a nice UI because you want it to be pretty and you want people to like what they're using. But in reality, all it's doing is calling the same function that we're looking at here. And, maybe we pre-put in the amount of ETH it costs for you just to save some trouble for the user. But at its core, these are the functions that we're using. and they are publicly available for any contract. As soon as you publish a contract and deploy it to the network, you can find it on Etherscan, and you can check out the details for it here. So this is a tool we're going to come back to a bunch of times. It's going to be used for everything we do. Now, to show you a pretty simple implementation of that, this here is a Twitter bot. They have these for CryptoPunks, Bored Apes, and a lot of popular projects. And all it's doing is it's an event listener. So, you could create an event listener to aggregate financial data. What they do is they listen to events on the contract on Etherscan. They just listen to those events, and they wait for a certain event here to be called. Now, that might be transfer, that might be a purchase. There's a slight difference. If I send it from one of my wallets to another one, it's not exactly a purchase. So you got to look into the specifics of it. But, this is, a not too complicated implementation. It's really just some back end work, and you're connecting this to Twitter. But every single time a transfer happens or a purchase happens in this big list of transactions, you can just trigger a Discord bot to tweet about it. And other use cases for that might look like, oh, I want to keep track of some financial data, or, oh, I'm looking at a decentralized exchange. I want to be alerted when a ton of volume is going on for this token I'm looking at. So tons of implementations for real simple things. You don't even need a front end. Just like that would be not even writing a contract and not even setting up a front end. You could, create a bot to track some of this data. That in the case of Bored Apes, it's, might be very helpful to some people that are watching the market, seeing when to buy one. 41 seconds ago, sale just happened. So, some of these projects are crazy with how fast stuff is moving, and the space itself moves fast too, but we're going to do a good job of staying on top of some of that. So I mentioned OpenSea earlier. Now we're going to look at this marketplace. This is an example of a project we might make. We might make something like an OpenSea. We might make a marketplace. And that would involve us making smart contracts, making a front end to view NFTs and view people's wallet data, and interact with them themselves. So if I wanted to buy this and I put up, the amount of money they were asking for, what it's actually going to look like is this Etherscan function. I'm going to go into the contract, and I'm going to be using that transfer function and using that amount of money. So again, it's all tying back to just the core functions of the contract, and that is what we're going to end up integrating. And then we're going to make our own contracts, and we're going to integrate our own functions on those contracts with our own front ends. And that's what it's going to look like down the line. This is going to be a modular process in this webinar series. We're going to one by one learn to build all of these things. So this is an example of what it might look like. You connect your wallet here on Etherscan. I'm going to use MetaMask, and that's what we're going to be using for some of these webinars as well, because MetaMask is a real popular one. It's an injected wallet, which means you can have a browser extension. When you get on a website, you would then give your permissions for your wallet to interact with it. So these are all things that we're going to figure out how to do. We're going to make a front end that can go through all these steps. So when a user wants to hop on here and interact with our website, they can sign in, and boom, I got my profile on here just from my wallet. There's no email sign in. I am authenticated just from a complete self-custody wallet, which, this adds a level of pseudo anonymity, and that's something that varies based off if I want to put my name on here or anything. But right now, OpenSea doesn't exactly know who I am. They just know the number for the wallet, and that's completely what my account connects to. So that's a standard in Web3, and that's something that we're going to learn about too, how to authenticate a user without an email. It seems a little weird if you're used to traditional authentication with Web2 development, but it's kind of the standard here. And let me say, as a developer, it is so much easier. You don't got to go through all that crazy stuff with, I got to connect Google to log in and Apple to log in, and so many problems are going wrong with it. It's actually real nice when all you do is connect a wallet, and that is your user authentication. It is sweet. Very excited to, start learning that part with you guys, and, teach you what that looks like when you're actually building it out. So This was a good look at a marketplace. You know, when we make our own marketplace, we can host any NFTs we want on it. We can let people post whatever they want and sell whatever they want on it. So these collections I'm looking at are not created through OpenSea. OpenSea is just a platform where all these decentralized assets are traded. They don't need to be approved by OpenSea. OpenSea can verify them if they want, things like that. But again, all stuff we're going to be looking at. So I want to show you guys one more type of project right now, and this is a very simple one. This is going to be a minting Dapp. This is something I made last year. It's on Polygon, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum. And I don't want to get into a rabbit hole on what a layer 2 is, but it is a scaling solution. It is almost a side chain of a network. So Polygon's built on top of Ethereum. Some people like to use it because there's less gas fees. We're going to be building on Ethereum, but we're going to be building on the test net for it. That way we're not actually spending any money on gas fees when we deploy stuff and such. But this is just a real simple function. All you do, you connect your wallet, and then you can pick a few NFTs to mint from a collection. So this is a contract I wrote as well. This is probably going to be one of our first projects front to back. We're going to write a contract, deploy it, and then create a front end where we can interact with it. And the first thing we want to do to interact is mint. So, if I wanted to hit buy on this, it'll pop up my wallet, tell my wallet to confirm, is this what you want to buy? I don't have any Polygon in this wallet right now, so I can't buy it. It'll tell me insufficient funds. But, hopefully everyone has sufficient funds. When we build stuff, everyone can start creating their own, and you're going to get to see what it feels like. So I want to ask you guys a few questions after just showing you that marketplace, that Etherscan, that bot, just like a quick look at what we might be building. Does anyone have any questions on what I just showed you guys? Any of those technologies, any of those websites? Are any of you familiar with them? Have you used Etherscan before to look at contracts, or maybe your own wallet? Have you used OpenSea to buy or sell something? Yeah, Mish, all the time. Love to hear that. Yeah, these are your core tools. OpenSea is the king as a marketplace. Etherscan is bread and butter. Craft Jarl, also familiar. Love that, love that. We've got a couple people more typing here. Let's see their level of experience. And another thing I want to ask, do you already have a wallet, and what wallet do you use? So I suggested MetaMask would be our go-to for development, and we're definitely going to explore other ones and look at how to integrate them. But there are many options. There are mobile wallets that you might scan a QR to connect with the website. There's some pretty cool authentication methods for that. And that might look like Coinbase Wallet, that might look like Trust Wallet. If you're using a different blockchain, maybe it's Phantom or Binance Wallet. Yeah, a lot of people using MetaMask. That's the popular one. I use it a bunch. Craft Jarl mentioned Ledger. That is a cool one too. So Ledger's a hardware wallet. All about your security, I see. All right, let's see. Seems cool. I've used Etherscan, but not too much detail. Also, do you think we'd be able to learn how to build a site where people can pay with fiat versus crypto, similar to OpenSea's function? Okay, Isaac, awesome question. Yeah, that's what we would call an on-ramp, where maybe you're going to use your credit card, maybe you're going to use US dollars, and you want to buy some crypto or buy a crypto asset with that, whether it be an NFT or maybe just buy some cryptocurrency, with a credit card or US dollars. Totally something, we can put on our roadmap here to implement. And I think features like that are so important because not everyone understands crypto. Not everyone has a wallet. We're all people that are interested in it, but not everyone is. So if we want to ship a real world product and, I want my mom to be able to use it. Maybe she doesn't, maybe that's too many steps for her to set up a wallet as well. Maybe if she could use payment forms she's familiar with to buy something, you would increase your user base and your possible customers. So when you're looking at building real world products, it extends past the Web3 space. We totally want to get into that stuff. Yeah, bridging the gap. And that's what this webinar series is about too. Alrighty. Yeah, we got a few more comments about wallets in there. Lizard's got a MetaMask. Kim's got a MetaMask. And Kim wants to know, what are the steps to the end product we're going to be covering here? So what these steps look like are, first things first, we are going to look at smart contracts and we are going to make one. It's going to help us understand other smart contracts, and we're going to use our own smart contracts. So next week, the episode will be about tooling, and I will go into some more detail about Solidity as a language, about hard hat and truffle. These are ways to test and set up your wallets. You want to do a lot of testing before it's out because these contracts are immutable. So I'll give you a sneak peek of something we're going to use right now, but Remix is an IDE for Ethereum, and you can use it online, and it comes with a bunch of built-in tools for you. So it's going to allow you to use test wallets, it's going to let you connect your MetaMask, and it's going to do real-time compiling for you when you're building. So this is something we're going to check out early on. We're going to use hard hat and truffle and some more ground level tools and frameworks to build it, but we're also going to check out Remix and say, how can we actually deploy, how can we write a smart contract, and then how can we deploy it? How can we get it out there? Even if it's just on the test net, get it out there in the public because we want to interact with it. From that point, we are going to start looking at Dapps, and I'm going to say we will use React for that because React is a very popular JavaScript framework. There's a ton of documentation for it. Some of you might like Angular or Svelte or some of those other front-end frameworks, but React is by far the most popular. So unless everyone says, they really like using another one, that's the direction we're going to go. But once we have a smart contract deployed, we are going to start building that Dapp for it. And that Dapp is going to look like a few things. It's going to look like wallet integration. How do I get my MetaMask connected? Once my MetaMask is connected, how do I interact with a wallet? If we remember, there are read functions and write functions. Some of these, I don't need a wallet connected to check the max number of apes. But if I want to write to the contract, I do have to connect my wallet. And at that point, your Dapp is going to have to do so the same way Etherscan does. Zakoi loves React. Hell yes, love to hear it. React and Next.js. Bomb.com, that's the stack I usually use. And we'll probably stick to JavaScript. Maybe we'll do some TypeScript. Again, I'll gauge everyone's interest on that. I don't want to use that if people aren't familiar with it because we're trying to learn Web3. We're not trying to learn TypeScript. So, using the more basic familiar tools from Web 2 and then whatever tools, we find to be best for Web 3 is how that's going to look. But yeah, the front end stuff, it's going to get exciting. We're going to go back and make more smart contracts. Once we get our grounding a little bit on the front end and interacting with a more simple one, and we can go through iterations of this too, because not all smart contracts are created equal. Depending on nuances in your code, you can have a much better gas optimization in your contract. And that's something we're going to look at too. What are the best security practices? There's money on the line in some smart contracts. People can hack them. You got to be sure that stuff's safe. So we're going to look at security practices. We're going to look at gas optimization, which, that's making sure your code is as clean and efficient as possible, because code directly translates to money when you're talking smart contracts. If I have to write more data to the network for the same function, it's going to cost more money in gas, because it's going to cost gas for however much you write to the network per interaction. So we're going to start out, basic smart contracts, but there's going to be iterations of it. We're going to keep going back and forth between back end and front end with this. I'd also like to ask, what would you guys like to see and learn about in these webinars? Does anyone have anything really specific that, man, like I always see this all the time. I feel like it's something I could try or get into. Maybe a friend has asked me to build this because they know I'm into Web3 or I code. I'd love to hear what you guys are looking to build. I know NFTs are real popular, and everyone knows about them, so that's a real cool, fun one to build. It has a visual aspect too. Do you plan on going over low-level stuff like opcodes? We definitely can go into it. That low-level stuff is very relevant when you're dealing with Solidity. We can totally look at where that can be on the curriculum and check it out. So what's exciting about Solidity, how I just mentioned the more code you're writing to the network, the more it's going to cost you. Well, that is why it's so important to understand your low-level programming and to understand how hexadecimal works in these situations. And, we might look at something like a Merkle tree, which is a binary tree that is a tool to optimize memory. And it uses some very cool cryptography to do so. So, these lower level things that's how we're going to optimize our contracts, by paying attention to the lower level aspects of coding. And, that stuff might not come into play when you're making a website. We're not exactly sending a rocket to the moon, but similar to something like getting a rocket to the moon or making a video game, you want to use something like C or C++, like these lower level languages, because they give you more control over memory and what you're doing in that sense. But we're going to learn how to do that with Solidity as well. So I don't know if anyone else has something they're interested in learning about, but please throw in the chat if you do, or just, even the stuff we looked at today with, remix, things like that, tools, what the main interests are. Like I said, our next webinar is going to be about tooling, and we're going to look at some of these tools, how we're going to use them, how we're going to implement them. That webinar is going to be next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see, we got another question here. Will any of it be entry-level-ish, or what can I brush up on before we start? Great question. So I would recommend before we start, if you're not familiar with, if you're not fully familiar with how blockchains work, I might just read a little intro article on that, or what an NFT is. I can throw in the chat right here just a couple token standards that are very popular, and those are two things we're going to look at. So just like having a general idea of what is an ERC 721, what is its significance? We're going to look at building it, but it would be helpful to understand the significance of these standards and what they can do. So they're both built on Ethereum's blockchain. They're tokens. They're not coins. They borrow Ethereum security and all that. But these are universally understood ideas in the space that, okay, a 721, this is non-fungible. If I mint one, it is one of one, but an ERC20 token is kind of like an ETH token. If I have one ETH and you have one ETH, they're the same thing. There's not really any difference there. When you get to an NFT, they're not the same thing. They're part of the same collection, but they have different metadata. So one of them might give me access to a website, and one of them might not. And I might get a pro membership with this one and just a regular tier with that one. So whether you're using them for software licensing or gating entry to communities, or even just profile pictures, all of them are going to be different. So it's just important to understand what purpose they serve in the ecosystem, what role they have. Let's see, Isaac wants to know, are you recording any of these webinars? Great info and don't want to miss. Thank you so much, Isaac. Yes, we are recording these. So we're going to be posting these after they're recorded. Maybe you can't make it one day, we'll still have it up there. If you aren't able to join at the time, maybe you have a question, you just throw it in the Discord after. I'll be able to help out, Kim or Tommy or anyone on the team, or just anyone in the community, really. But we'll have questions going on live during these webinars when we're actually doing some coding, but you can always hop in the recording later to rewatch or watch if you missed it, and then throw any new questions in the Discord and we'll be able to help out with that. Alrighty, looks like we got a couple more people typing, probably got some questions about this. Is there a schedule for the webinars? Totally. So next week, Tuesday, 10 a.m., and that is a schedule we're going to be following. So there might be a week here or there where maybe we change up the time a little bit. We understand not everyone is in the States, not everyone's in the same time zone as us. So we're going to have the series of events all posted later today, but the timing on some of them might be a little different. We might not always do this time, we might not always do that 10 a.m., but we are going to put them up well in advance so you guys can see a few weeks ahead. Yeah, thank you for the question. That was a good one. Alrighty. Cool, cool. Yep. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, guys. So, unless we have any other questions, I think we are going to call this a wrap for our introduction to the webinar series. Thank you all so much for joining. I'm very excited to get coding and get to know some of y'all too. Uh, but yeah, thank you again for joining. We'll see if we have any words from Kim or Tommy before we hop off here. Alrighty. Kim says thanks. She is excited as well. Cannot wait to kick this off and actually write some code. Awesome, awesome. Great to meet you, Craft Jarl. Also looking forward to it, Alex. Very excited. Yep, can't wait to have you there, Lizard. And between now and any of the webinars, the Discord is a channel where you can really ask about anything, but also, feel free to DM me if you got a question. Maybe if you want some reading materials, if you're interested too, can totally point you in the right direction, totally help out with any of that info. I love this space and I love teaching about it. So very happy to help. Cool. And keep your eye on the Discord because as Kim says, we got more fun contests coming up. You definitely don't want to miss those. Alrighty, y'all. I think that is all for today. I'm going to go ahead and close down this webinar. So once again, hope to see you all soon.